Alright guys, so let's go for our VPN configuration here, and we have done the site-to-site VPN in AWS, but in Azure we're going to go for the other type, the point-to-site VPN, which is from a client you can connect to the VPN. So for that, what we can add here is connecting from our local machine to Azure VPN, right? So that is the VPN point to site, and so we can start. Guys, are you able to hear me? Nobody is even writing yes. You hurt my feelings now.
We can hear you.
Oh, okay, cool. Thank you. Okay, so Chintan says, I have a question. Can we do VNet and VPC connection between Azure? Ooh, Azure and AWS. Wow, man, you're fast and curious. That's very good. Well, yeah, we can do it. It's just that the rules of AWS. Well, if the AWS and Azure has collaboration means they accept each other's connectivity, they accept each other's protocols, the way they both run, and they do actually have a collaboration. Yes, you can connect a virtual machine in AWS to a virtual machine or EC2 instance or EC2 instance in AWS to a virtual machine in Azure, but how much of that collaboration is there, we need to check that out. And can a VNet detect a VPC? Can a VPC detect a VNet? I don't think so. But if the two virtual machines can communicate with each other, yes. And the best thing would be, can they migrate from VPN from Azure to AWS and AWS to Azure? So, well, that is very common. Like not common. So can we migrate virtual machines between AWS and Azure? So third-party tools would be there, but does the vendor themselves? So Quest tools are very famous. Quest for Active Directory, they have really good PowerShell management commandlets there, and yeah, so Azure has documentation, AWS EC2 VMs to Azure. Okay, there you go. So yes, the migration is there. So this means that they do have some protocol signed with each other that, okay, if the virtual machine wants to come from Azure to AWS and from AWS EC2 instance wants to be migrated to Azure, then we will go through these protocols. So yes, first of all, it is, and seamlessly migrate your application from AWS to Azure. So Azure will provide those documentations where you can get any application migrated and virtual machine migrated from AWS. AWS will provide those documentations only one way, which are from, you can just migrate from Azure, from any non-AWS to AWS. Obviously, they will not provide you documentation for that, hey, how do you migrate away a virtual machine from our Azure to their AWS? So both of this is the same for Hyper-V and VMware hypervisors as well. Both provide tools how to convert a machine from VMware to Hyper-V virtual machine. So these tools are provided by. So if the business is coming to them, then those tools are provided. So yes, AWS will provide the same thing, but one way. Azure to AWS, Azure will provide the same thing, but one way. AWS to Azure. So yeah, there you go. So oh, from last week you got it. That's great. So that's interesting. Obviously, there are many scenarios there. Obviously, it all requires time and a lot of effort to really make it happen, and it's always fun when it does happen successfully. So let's go ahead and this is that day of the week, the Friday, when half of the class is not here. We can understand it's Friday, right? So before weekend and it's fall. Okay, let us go ahead and we need to go for point-to-site VPN, and then we need to go for some more topics of Azure until we start Google Cloud. So, oh yeah, still going on. Anyway, so what is VPN connection? And some of you may have used it already, or many of you may have used it already, the VPN connection. So, virtual private network, and this is a VPN gateway, the specific type of virtual network gateway that is used to send encrypted traffic between an Azure virtual network and an on-premises location over the public internet. See, so simple. So, so in English, what it means is that if that's it. So suppose that's your branch here on premises or at home. Obviously, because of COVID, everyone's working from home. So you're connected from your home PC, and you want to VPN into your cloud environment. And when you VPN, pretty much, obviously, it's going to be a virtual machine there with a private IP, not a public IP, obviously, right? So this virtual machine will, suppose it will have 10.0.0.4, right? So it's a 10.0.0.4 IP based machine, but we are trying to create a VPN gateway here in Azure. So Azure VPN Gateway. So this would be then through this gateway, and you have a virtual machine here, and a virtual or physical machine, maybe your laptop or desktop there with Windows 10 inside, or Windows 2012, whichever, right? So Windows 10 or Windows Server 2016, or onwards, whichever. So from there, you intend to grab a VPN client. Like you will install VPN. So VPN gateway is up there. So Azure slash Windows VPN client. So obviously the client would be trying to connect to the VPN gateway, and through that, so both sides you can see that it will be just private IP addresses. So it's just private IP here, and so this virtual machine is behind its own gateway or router on premises or at home behind your DSL router. So you have just a private IP given directly to this machine, and then you download a VPN client, and that VPN client has all the information of the Azure VPN gateway. And the ultimate test of ours would be that if we RDP from our private IP based client to, so it will be through that VPN client to VPN gateway, and from VPN gateway to another private IP based machine in Azure Cloud, in Azure VNet, right? So this would be all very secure connectivity, which is point to site. So you're at home and you're connecting to hundreds of virtual machines there in Azure for that company. That's going to be very interesting. And this is a very common scenario that obviously nowadays even more, even before you were able to connect to through VPN client to any of the virtual machines with private network. So we will be giving here a certificate as well. Obviously, without a certificate, security certificate, that is, you cannot actually make a connection to the VPN gateway. So we will have to create a self-signed. Well, that's the free one. That's why self-signed, and Azure actually accepts self-signed. Otherwise, self-signed is obviously not non-secure for production environments. You have to purchase a certificate, security certificate, maybe from $200 up to $2,000 from digicert.com or verisign.com or godaddy.com. So a self-signed certificate, a self-signed, actually we will create a self-signed root certificate and a client certificate. So what is the significance of that? The root certificate, with this root certificate we can create multiple client certificates. Suppose you don't have just one virtual machine, you have actually 20 virtual machines. So you can create a self-signed root certificate, and then you can create client certificate for client 1, and then client 2 certificate, client 3 certificate, client 4 certificate from that root certificate, right? So and suppose you have 10 Windows 10s there, or Mac clients or Linux client machines, so you can just distribute those 10 client certificates to 10 machines there. And the root certificate, where does it go? It goes, so client certificate goes to the, obviously, client. The root certificate goes to the Azure VPN Gateway. How about gateway to gateway connectivity? Oh yeah, so that is site-to-site VPN, and you just connect the Azure VPN Gateway from one site, in one site, and you create the same Azure VPN Gateway on the other side. So that is also obviously, uh, but so for VPN Gateway, both sites has to have a gateway. Otherwise, it's point to site that you must have a VPN client, and then there's a VPN Gateway. And then there's the question. So Azure VPN does not work with just IPsec, IKE, non-SSL, non-SSL, IPsec, and yes, it works with IKE plus SSTP. So without cert. No, it does work without cert as well, actually. With Azure Active Directory permissions and MFA, it works with that too, without cert as well. So, but cert is the common way to go ahead and try to do that. You know, it's the most commonly used. So hence that scenario here. Um, so well, for the gateway, obviously, on any of the site, normally the when you go for site-to-site gateway, you need a public certificate, actual public certificate. The Not the self-signed certificate. It doesn't work that way. Then you have to purchase a certificate for that, and try to get to two sites to connect to each other, or on premises you have to create that site-to-site VPN. But for the point-to-site VPN, it's not that easy as well. However you configure the virtual VPN, Azure VPN Gateway, so you will see that now, and what are the other features in that Azure VPN Gateway. Normally, VPN Gateway configuration in Azure is available under Virtual Network Gateway. So basically, we're gonna create a virtual network gateway, and that has the VPN feature for point to site and site to site both. So we're gonna create a virtual network gateway there, right? And now this is our basic scenario, that how to connect from point to site. Just download the client, but obviously, how do you configure the certificates? We're gonna try to configure that too. We're gonna create our VNet here. So we will create our VNet, and then obviously what we have always been creating a resource group, and then inside the resource group VNet, and then inside a VNet subnet, default subnet, and inside the default subnet we're gonna go for a VM. So that VM will have private IP, and the objective is that how can we connect from outside of Azure to inside of our Azure directly to a private IP based virtual machine. So Chintan says, can we also do site-to-site VPN between Azure and AWS? Well, I have to check that. Wow. Hey, did you get that in the job? I mean, like somebody's asking the job. Because yes, this is something I'm hearing from my friends as well. That hey, how about that? Because they have two clouds, right? So sometimes the boss are actually telling one of my friend as well that hey, can you just move our machines from AWS to Azure and back to sometimes afterwards back from Azure to AWS as well. So just asking, okay. But yeah, one of my friend actually got it, so it's a coincidence. I can see there that that's the same. Recently, he was saying that, hey, I'm being asked this, and I have to give a report. Then I don't know what happened to that. But Azure to AWS site-to-site VPN, AWS Azure site-to-site VPN. Now, whatever they allow to do, obviously, only that can be done. Wherever they lose business because of that, they won't be really doing that. So site-to-site VPN between AWS and Azure. Okay, some third party did that. All third party site-to-site VPN between existing Azure and AWS. Okay, there you go. So Dell techcommunity.microsoft.com. So actually, somebody asked in the tech community, but official documentation that should appear is not appearing here. So this means that people have tried themselves with the third-party client site-to-site VPN application there, implementing VPN tunnel between Azure and AWS. So who's that? Cloud Sapient. So they must have used the site-to-site VPN software, third-party software for that, or they are the actual vendors and they have created a product there for exactly that purpose. Whoa, okay. So yes, you're right. It's pretty much done already, and the people have gone to that length of giving all the step-by-step configuration, pretty long ones, to configure a site-to-site VPN between the two sites. So that's a really cool. So I'm just gonna copy that here, and AWS and Azure side-to-side VPN. Okay, so that's really interesting as well. That's a much more tougher scenario, obviously. That it well, the step-by-step document is there. Some of the students normally just need a document that is showing step-by-step, and they make it happen as well. I'll just put it in. Oh, okay. Here. Oh man, let me just get it up and running fast here. First thing, and that's the day 15. Okay, and then Chinda says some feature are good in AWS, and yes, some feature good in Azure. So in future, it's important. Yes, you're right. And also, majority of the companies have two types of clouds, either Azure and Google Cloud, or AWS and Azure, or even AWS, Azure, Google Cloud. So obviously there are really when there are multiple clouds, so how can we transfer resources from one cloud to another back and forth? So yeah, you're right. Some features are better in AWS, some features are better in Azure. So that would be a logic of going cross-platform as well. Okay, so let us go ahead and try to then create our own environment, and that is let me just clean up my environment here that got created because of some testing. That's why, guys, I was not able to come for the exam prep. There are this lab I was checking before actually doing it here. So yeah. Now the VPN. What is a virtual network? What is VPN gateway? So we're going to talk about that, and let's go ahead and configure our environment. It's going to take a longer time to actually configure a VPN gateway. So what we can do is talk about VPN gateway and then actually start creating one, because it might take 45 minutes or 30 minutes to configure to create a virtual network gateway. It takes a long time to get it created, so it's not like last time we were comparing that I'm in Scarborough, that's why it's slow, and I didn't move yet. So but it's other than that, even on a faster network, virtual network gateway gets it takes a long time to get created, right? So once you click the create button, after that, we should just go to some other task and do some other tasks. So so let's understand first of all what it is, and our objective is to go for point-to-site connecting from our local machine to Azure VPN. And VPN Gateway is a specific type of virtual network gateway that is used to send encrypted traffic. So it is used to send encrypted traffic between an Azure virtual network and an on-premises location over the public internet. So the main thing here is that the traffic is encrypted, so you have a encrypted secure tunnel on that internet where hackers are just looking for an opportunity to get your session, hijack your session, and steal all the data, and then do something about it, just or sell it to your rivals. So obviously, when you connect from home and you're suppose a level 3 administrator, so you're connecting to all the critical resources of a company that they cannot afford to obviously lose. So they would want to make sure that when you're connecting, that you're connecting really securely from your home to the office. So you can also use a VPN gateway to send encrypted traffic between Azure virtual networks over the Microsoft network. So VPN gateway can be used between two Azure networks as well. So you have a subscription of Azure, and then you have another subscription of Azure. Maybe one subscription actually is created in East US, and the other is created in East Europe. So you can actually make the two, uh, sites that is connected through VPN gateway as well, which is that the private IP based machines are communicating with each other over the internet. Each virtual network can have only one VPN gateway. So we talked about that in when we were creating the VNet in last class. So each VNet can have only one VPN gateway. So we're going to create one now. And however, you can create multiple connections to the same VPN gateway when you create. So you can obviously once there is a connection there between one client and the gateway, so there could be 10 clients, there could be 20, 200 clients even connecting to the same gateway. So multiple connections are supported there. When you create multiple connections to the same VPN gateway, all VPN tunnels share the available gateway bandwidth. So there can be two VPN tunnels there, just like we talked about in AWS as well, and we use just one tunnel at that time. So we can have two simultaneous tunnels here if for combined bandwidth to send some more bigger data faster, or also for that redundancy. If one tunnel goes down, the other one could keep the show running. So so there can be multiple tunnels there as well. I'll just share that link as well. So what is VPN gateway? First I'll put in here. Okay, all right. So let us go ahead and so here, what is VPN gateway? A VPN gateway is, we talked about that. What is a virtual network gateway? So this is also well mentioned there. What is a virtual network gateway here? So let's go ahead. And what is a virtual network gateway? A virtual network gateway is composed of two or more VMs that are deployed to a specific subnet you create called the gateway subnet. So a virtual network gateway is composed of two or more VMs that are deployed to a specific subnet you create called the gateway subnet. Virtual network gateway VMs contain routing tables and run specific gateway services. So what it's saying in English is that when you deploy a virtual network gateway, what happens is in the background it creates two virtual machines in the background it creates, and you can't directly configure the VMs that are part of the virtual network gateway. So when we click and create a virtual network gateway, in the background two virtual machines get created there, and then they are also once they get created, so you don't have, it's in the background. So
And that is the example of site to site.
no. That is not site to site. This is when you create a virtual network gateway yourself by click wizard. So in the background, there are two virtual machines that they handle, Microsoft handle, and the virtual network gateway software is actually installed in those two virtual machines, which we cannot access, but Microsoft can handle, and Azure guys normally maintain that. We just see a front dashboard of virtual network gateway, and they're just telling us that in the background it's installed on two virtual machines, which we don't have to connect to, and we can't connect actually to. So this is just saying how virtual network gateway. So Usman says, why do we need VGN? No, it's VNG. It's not VGN. No. Okay. So yeah, it's why do we need it? Because it offers the VPN gateway feature. So the VPN gateway feature is not a separate feature. You install virtual network gateway. A part of that is VPN as well. So if you want to install VPN, we need to install actually virtual network gateway there. Yeah. So UPS, uninterrupted power supply? No. Okay, ups there. So then there is when you configure a virtual network gateway, you configure a setting that specifies the gateway type. The gateway type determines how the virtual network gateway will be used and the actions that the gateway takes. The gateway type VPN specifies. So what it's saying in English again is that okay, are we doing side-to-side VPN as well? Okay, so the bomb dropped finally. So yeah, that was coming. I was thinking, hey, when will he ask that? Because it's point to site, right? So where is the site to site? Okay, so I will try to create that too. That was point. I was actually going for point to site to site, but then Mohammed Abbas said that no. I want point to site as well. I don't. No. You have to do that. So I went for point to site. Now Jintan is saying no. I want site to site as well. Okay, so yeah, sure, side to side as well. We'll go for that too. So just wondering if you are going to draw the diagrams for today's lab. Oh yes, we will be drawing a diagram as well for today's lab. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so if there is anything else, also just let me know. Hey, are both part of the Azure exam? I think they are. Anyway, I really wanted to go at my own pace with all these. That's why I started my own courses. Otherwise, I was connected to some colleges where I have to finish the courses faster. Okay, guys, so here we were talking about, first of all, the virtual network gateway, that it gets installed. The purpose of virtual network gateway is to offer different types of gateways there, and one of the gateway type is VPN. So network virtual gateway has the collection of gateways there. One of them is VPN. Yeah, exactly. So well, that's we're going to talk about that. Let's just take a 10-minute break and then come back, and then we go ahead. So guys, 10-minute break now, and let us go ahead. And well, there's a gateway type here as well. I'm just going to keep the slide here, and let's put the gateway. Did I? Whoa! I put a date there. Seriously, 6:45. Alright, guys. So we were talking about so when you configure a virtual network gateway, you configure a setting that specifies the gateway type. So okay, first thing it's saying here is that when you configure a virtual network gateway, So two machines in the background gets created which we have no access to, and on top of these machines this network gateway is created, and Azure simply handles those machines. They're just saying that in the background this happens, which we don't have access. That's the first thing, right? And second thing is that when you create a virtual network gateway, so it also offers their gateway types. What is Vpn gateway? Okay, so gateway types, and those gateway types. So virtual network gateway is just a collection of gateways there. So if we go for those virtual network gateways, so I'll just go down here for this. Gateway types are there. So it says that in the documentation as well what type of gateways do they really offer. So I'll just right click that, and so gateway types, each virtual network can only have one virtual network gateway of each type. So what type of virtual network gateways they're offering? When you are creating a virtual network gateway, you must make sure that the gateway type is correct for your configuration. So the available values for gateway type are VPN or express route. So a VPN gateway requires a gateway type VPN. Obviously, you will just select that. And express route is actually your lease line, and you would actually connect to you will connect with very fast network, expensive network to Microsoft nearest data center. How it works really is that suppose you have a branch here, and then that branch is actually um, connected to an ISP, and that is ISP equals Roger, suppose. So now you say that you asked your local Toronto branch asked that, hey, I want to have express route connected. So normally what happens is it's going to be a dedicated line to a nearest data center of Azure. So suppose the nearest data center is actually not nearest, so or not near at all. So what happens is that Azure simply asks okay, MPLS link, but also oh, okay, what are those virtual machines? Masterji, where were you when I was explaining that? These two virtual machines, little ones, right? Okay. Okay. So yeah, we were on a separate topic now, but since you just noticed now, so okay, these two virtual machines are created when you create a virtual network gateway. Uh, in the background, these two virtual machines are created, and we don't have access to that, but Azure guys just say that, hey, in the background there are two virtual machines on top of which this software of virtual network gateway is installed. We have no concern with that. We don't access that. They just manage it. In fact, they should not have even mentioned it that they create two virtual machines when we don't have to have when we don't have access. So why should we be then concerned as well? Actually, why they have that put in the document? That's what I was saying. Okay, anyway, so otherwise we normally don't, since we don't have access to that, so this is something that we're not really concerned about. So here, yeah, as we were talking about that, if it's express route, so how does it really work? Express route is a dedicated line with a huge bandwidth offer. So how it works is basically the idea is that your branch can connect to nearest Azure DC, whichever Azure data center there is, it's gonna connect to that, right? And so for that purpose, it's Azure DC, because it connects to that. There are some students who are asking me outside. Sorry, they're messaging me again and again. Let me just put that there quickly. Sorry, give me a sec. Okay, that's Okay, so as we were talking about, it's a dedicated line. So if you want to connect to the nearest Azure data center, then you have to suppose it's hundreds of kilometers away. So what happens is it's they ask that, hey, which ISP you are connected to. Azure asks your branch on premises. So you say, oh, we're connected to Rogers. So Azure then deploy their own routers to your ISP, and you are directly connected to their high bandwidth, high speed routers, and from their one ISP to another ISP. How many other ISPs come? There are Azure routers there, so you're purely using the Azure network, Azure router here as well, right? And with high bandwidth. Obviously, they were going to charge your company more for that, and until you reach the nearest Azure DC or nearest network endpoint to which where you hop onto Microsoft Azure's network. So the main thing is express route. You have to order that and for your branch, and they charge you more. This is expensive, but is really high speed network from your branch to the nearest Azure data center. So the virtual network gateway offers a VPN or express route. So a VPN gateway requires the gateway type VPN. Yeah, we know that. And then gateway SKUs. So SKUs are just the types here. That there's VPN gateway 1, and does it support site-to-site VPN? Does it support multiple tunnels? Does it support any of the protocols? Does it support BGP, border gateway protocol? So they have mentioned what kind of gateways they offer, and you can see that when you create a virtual network gateway, we're about to create that now, you need to specify the gateway SKU that you want to use, or the type of product that you want to use. So select the SKU that satisfies your requirements based on the types of workloads. Suppose you have a huge data, so you would definitely go for some gateway type that offers a lot of bandwidth, a lot of throughput there, and features and SLAs as well. So you want redundancy as well. You can keep on choosing the more expensive type of VPN gateway. So for virtual network gateway SKUs in Azure availability zones, there's another link here, but basically that's what you would see there as well. VPN gateway 1 you want to choose. Do you want to go for basic? This is maximum 10 tunnels there. Site-to-site VPN, VNet to VNet tunnels you can create there, and point-to-site also it supports with SSTP protocol, which is secure socket tunneling protocol. Secure socket tunneling protocol. So pretty much you need a certificate for that, and it's port 443 it uses. So maximum 128 connections you can make there. Point to site it supports. That's we're talking about basic. And IKEV. IKEV is a VPN protocol which is for portability. Suppose you're taking your laptop from one hotspot to another hotspot. You just moved from one floor to another. You just moved from one restaurant to another, side by side, and they have their own hotspot and they're connected as well. So once you leave a wireless hotspot and you're connecting to another wireless hotspot, IKEV protocol just keeps your sessions alive there, and you're not fully disconnected from your sessions. Oh yeah, there you go. Internet Key Exchange, or IKEV, but it's for portability. And / OpenVPN connections, that's another OpenVPN protocol or type of VPN, that open source VPN. Aggregate throughput benchmark 100 Mbps, so 100 megabits per second. BGP not supported in basic one, and it goes to the right side. Where is that? Okay, yeah. And then there is zone redundant. So base does not the base VPN does not support zone redundancy. So you can see all this gateway types there. From it goes down to VPN gateway 5AZ, and that is generation 2, the maximum, where it's maximum 30 tunnels. So this is the tunnel configuration, and it says 30. Then connections, when it goes for, so it says 128 connections here. Maximum IKEV or point-to-site connections, 10,000 point-to-site connections it supports. 10,000 clients can connect with the maximum. The basic one, what, not supported? So not even a single client can. Okay, so but 250 clients here and 250 connections is an aggregate throughput benchmark. So it also is 10 Gbps. That's a lot. And then BGP protocol supported, except for basic. Everyone else is supporting. All of the types of gateways are supporting. And zone redundancy, it starts from this line here. So it's generation 1 VPN gateway 1AZ. From there, the zone redundancy also is supported. So, oops, okay. Now these are the gateway types, and you're going to see that when we are creating the gateway. Now the thing is, guys, that when we create a virtual network gateway, it takes like 45 minutes to do that. So that's kind of really problemo. So what about the certificate? So what about the certificate? Yes, you need a certificate to be created. Now at the start of the class, I had explained that we're going to actually deploy a self-signed root certificate. We're not going to purchase $200 certificate. So we're gonna, and it accepts, actually the virtual network gateway accepts a self-signed certificate, which is strange. That self-signed certificates are, self-signed. So I certify that please trust me. That's what the device is saying. This is my certificate I'm giving to trust me. So, so that is self-signed certificate. Normally, the certificate is supposed to be from a reputed, a site like VeriSign, Digicert.com, or GoDaddy.com. Banks and governments use those sites to put a certificate. That site certificate says, "Hey, we trust this guy here, this server here. So go ahead, you can trust them too. Don't worry, it's okay." So, but we're going to use for our lab self-signed root certificate and a client certificate. So,
it would be the same certificate, Amir?
Yeah.
It will be the same certificate implemented into on-premises and Azure, or different certificate?
Well, it will be a self-signed certificate that Azure Gateway will also accept.
Okay.
And that's very strange, but it is accepting, so hence we are able to do the lab. Otherwise, then it would have been a bit difficult to do this lab. Okay. So now I'm going to explain then when we start the lab that when do we use that certificates there. Well, these are the types of gateways here, and then it goes down to generation 1. So to help our customers understand the relative performance of SKUs using different algorithms, we use publicly available iPerf and CDS traffic tools. These are some tools that measure the performances. Then they give you the packets per second observed, throughput observed from there when you connect to VPN Gateway 1, and then or the best they have is VPN Gateway 3AZ, and some market performance tools which are more famous, iPerf and CTS traffic. Through those, Microsoft is saying that through those tools, we can prove that our VPN speeds are very good and security is very good as well, right? So these are just the VPNs that or the type of gateways we talk about. Let's go ahead and try to understand our lab now, because it's gonna take time to configure the lab as well. And what is the plan here? So it's a
before the lab, Mr. Amir, last question. Yeah, what about the policy? Is it need permission user to access the VPN, or just implement it and then user use it?
What about the policy about well, the policy can be configured on virtual network gateway, and you can disconnect a user or not allow the user to connect if the certificate is revoked, or if you go for a policy revoked or expired. And also there are some session related policies there, that if the user is idle for half an hour, then disconnect the VPN session. Normally it's a very small idle time. As soon as we make a connection from from our laptop to the gateway, it simply disconnects after 1 or 2 minutes. So when we make a successful connection, if we are able to make a successful connection from our laptop to the Azure Network Gateway, VPN Gateway, so we have to at once create a RDP connection here. So there's a very small time, idle time out and connection disconnectivity because of this. So, but we can configure all the policies within the virtual network gateway about session and which user to allow and which user not to allow. Basically, you revoke a certificate and that simply solves the problem of disconnecting a user. You're welcome. Okay, guys, are you able to hear me? Ahmed says he's not able to hear me. Are you all able to hear me? Yes. Okay, thank you for the reply. Oh, okay. So only one guy is not able to hear. Oh, now it's good. Okay. So guys, let's go ahead and try to understand our lab. Yeah. Okay. So we are going for point to site, and then hopefully later, if it's not a very big challenge, then definitely we're going to go for site to site as well. Let's go ahead. But site to site, we have to pretend a lot. We can just go to another subscription in another region, and so anyway, the concepts then are still clear. So what we will do is this. Where's this? We talked about gateway site types as well. Now Azure VPN point to site. So create a resource group, create a VNet, create a VM inside this VNet. That's the usual what we do when we start any lab here. Then we're going to go for create a virtual network gateway. After that, in fact, what we can do is we can create a resource group and VNet. We can even create the VM afterwards when we can just go for the virtual network gateway. Why? Because this dude takes 45 minutes to get created. I haven't seen any service. Oh, okay, maybe firewall. Azure firewall also takes a lot of time, but this is too much. I mean, like we have to share some jokes, and you can come up with some entertainment while we're waiting for this, right? Just kidding. No, we will have a lot of things to do. Okay, and one else says, could you please share this PPT? Oh yeah, sure. No problemo. If you want these steps now, sure. I can put those steps here, but otherwise, yeah, sure. I'll share the slide as well. Okay, let us go ahead. All okay. So yeah, we'll do. So here, what we're talking about, create a VM inside this VNet, create or start a VM inside your VMware Workstation. So yeah, guys, do we all have that VMware Workstation machine that we use for the AADC, Azure Active Directory Connect? Hopefully, those who are trying to follow or will be following, hopefully you have a domain controller machine that we created at the start of this course. Hopefully you still have that machine, right? If you don't have that machine, well, the other thing is we need a client to connect from, right? And we're going to be creating self-signed certificates. We're going to be creating PowerShell. So either, so I've tested that in a VMware Workstation virtual machine, which is better to test. Otherwise, suppose you don't have a machine, maybe you're fast enough, you can just create one virtual machine quickly that is connected to internet directly. That's all we need. It should not be domain join even. We don't need that. But if you don't have such, you can just try the client side things on your laptop, which is kind of, it may work that way as well. Should work unless you have some software that or antivirus that is going to stop you from doing this lab.
Can I have suggestion? Just do it, and we'll see. I think it's better to do it by yourself, and we can see what you are doing for many reasons. Well, first of all, just to save a time, and we can focus more. Instead of just doing with you step by step, and this is not work with me, does not work with. So I think this is the good way.
Definitely, you're right.
Yeah, so it is better for us to just watching and see what you are doing, and later we can apply it by the video. Just see the video and apply it to understand better. I think this is my suggestion.
Yeah, that's a very good suggestion, and this would let me actually do the lab, without really indulging in, oh, what was this, what was that. So, okay, guys, we can. I'm sure some will still try, so I cannot stop them. But the suggestion is that, we need to finish the lab today. So let me, go ahead, guys. So that's a suggestion from their side, from Awad's side, Mohammed Awad's side. So you can also give your suggestions. Okay, Vikas says, for cert, are we going to configure ADCS? No, we're gonna just create certificates with PowerShell. ADCS, Active Directory Certificate Services, that's a long thing to go for. It's going to take more, it's very time consuming. But the thing is, yes, you can have the certificate created from ADCS as well. So here, create a resource group, we're going to do that, and then since I have that virtual machine already installed, and you can refer to that video on the day 1 or day 2 where we installed the virtual machine and configured. You don't need a domain controller there. That's the first thing I'll tell you for this particular lab. It can be a Windows 10 machine that is just connected to internet, right? That's all we need. If it's not joined to the domain, don't worry. We don't need that. Okay. Okay, guys. So here, let's start doing this now. But the steps. First of all, resource group VNet will be created. Virtual network gateway then will be created. Then I'll just create a virtual machine inside that VNet with. That's the important part, with private IP only. Yay! Private IP only, right? If it's public IP, then yeah, what's the use of VPN then? Okay. Now, the second thing is, once we, this is our cloud side, and then this is our on-premises side. So I can just divide it into that on-prem, premises side, and cloud side, right? So cloud side, okay. And other than that, create a root certificate and create a client certificate. So we're going to be creating 2 certificates here with the PowerShell script, and upload root certificate to the virtual network gateway, while we're going to go for configure a VPN point site to site configuration. So what about those root certificates and client certificates? So as I mentioned before as well, and during the lab I'm going to mention that as well, that why are we creating 2 certificates? This root certificate we are creating, and we're going to grab its key and put it inside the VPN gateway. So the root certificate will be uploaded to VPN gateway, while the client certificate will be connected to this client here. And since the client certificate will be created out of the information of the root certificate, so when the VPN client connects from here with the help of this client certificate, it will use this client certificate to request a VPN connection from the VPN gateway. So there, the root certificate will be sitting there, and it will check that, hey, this client certificate, yeah, this is, I know this, it's okay. This is my certificate that I created. So yeah, I understand all the information. So let this VPN client connect to the VPN gateway. Once you have made that connection there, then we will go for the RDP connection after that, right? And we will just need the private IP of this machine from here, from our Vmware Workstation machine, and it should just simply remote desktop into that Azure machine. So that's the whole idea behind that. So let's get going, and I'm going to explain with diagram, the neat one, not the messed up one. So first thing, what we need to do is that we need to create a VPN gateway. So VNet first of all, right? And in that VNet, I'll just give a range. So VNet dash VPN dash P2S. So we can just give as long name as possible. And then second thing is we're gonna create a default subnet, obviously, because we just need one virtual machine here. You can create 20 virtual machines there behind the gateway. It's up to you. We just need, if we can connect to one virtual machine, we can connect to all virtual machines as well. So this will be our default subnet, and this default subnet obviously would have the same range as if it's 10 range we're using. And also then we will have a virtual machine here. So I'm just gonna reach to this stage. In fact, I'll create that virtual machine later. I need to reach this stage first, then I need to create that VPN gateway because it's gonna take forever. So Azure VPN Gateway, Azure VPN Gateway will be created, and all the configurations there, we're going to discuss that. And after that, I'll create the virtual machine with a private IP as well. So first is this. So let's go to Azure and create our VNet, and the default subnet will be created with it, and then we can go directly to Azure VPN, because Azure VPN will want to know that, hey, which VNet are you connecting me to? So that's why we need to connect that. Okay, so let's do that first, and that is a P2S point to site VPN lab. Okay, let's do this. So I'm just gonna go to my Azure, and then I'll go to this portal menu here, and I'll go down to, well, we need to create a resource group, but how about we create it with the VNet as well? So let's go down directly to the virtual network here. Once we go to the virtual network, then obviously we've done that so many times now, so I'm going to click the add button here, and then I'm going to first check no resource group here. That's good. And then click create new resource group, and RG, and today is 16Oct2020, and VPN. So I'll just name it. So whatever name you want to give, and press OK to the resource group. So that's the name of the VNet now. So VNet-VPN-P2S, just to give some, meaningful name there. Okay, so it's East US. So yep, it is East US. Let's go ahead for the IP addresses. Yay! So here, just like last time, it's I got the range already, 10.0.0.0.16, and the default subnet is there already. Well, we don't need to change the name of the subnet or change the IP range. It's just default is okay here. The first machine inside this virtual network and subnet would get the 10.0.0.4 private IP, right? So this is okay. No need to change there. You want to go ahead and change some IP ranges, you can do that. Now you know how to do. So I'm going to click that security. And in this security, since we're going to have a virtual machine that will only have a private IP, so the thing is that we can quickly create a bastion host here as well, in case we had to connect to that machine directly from the browser. Although in this lab, we're not intending to connect to this machine through browser. We're connecting to this private machine through VPN. So I'm just going to click that enable here in case we had to connect. And the bastion name, I'll just copy this just like last time. Control C, Control V, and then, well, you have to assign the next available subnet for that. So 10.0.0.0/24 is taken. So 10.0.1.0/24 is the next one. And yep.
I just want to know, did we check the box for subnet?
Oh, thank you for reminding me, and I'm always forgetting that. So okay, 2 virtual samosas for you, definitely. Thank you. So there you go. So I'm gonna click security here, but thank you. It would not have been created then. And we need to check the box. Oh, okay, you wrote there as well. Thank you. Okay, and there's that create new. So obviously, when you create a bastion subnet, bastion subnet here, Azure bastion subnet, so you need to create a public IP for that Azure bastion subnet. So I'm gonna click that create new here, and this is just it's pip-vpn, whatever name you want to give. So pip-vpn. Okay, so we created a bastion host in case we need that. Otherwise, we need to connect from VPN directly to the private VM. Okay, other than that, DDoS and firewall, we don't need that. So I'm going to click next tags. So here it's out of habit, just give a name here. So it's the VPN lab P2S, right? Okay, and click review plus create, and create. All right. So now the VNet is getting created here. Once the VNet is created, I'll go for the next step here. So create a VNet, and then resource group created, VNet created, and then we can go for a virtual network gateway, and try to understand all the features of that. Then after virtual network gateway is in the process of getting created, and that's a long one. So then we will create a virtual machine, and then we'll go towards on-premises and configure our, basically we're going to create self-signed certificates, and then we're going to export them as well, and then wait for the virtual gateway to actually finish getting created. So the VNet is getting created. Wow, VNet is still created. Serious. Yeah. Again, it's making me decide to move from Scarborough. Okay. While this is getting created, I'll just go for the diagram here, and well, even if I start creating virtual machine now, that's not gonna also, yeah, when we create a bastion subnet, then it takes a long time. If we don't create a bastion, then it doesn't take that much time. Deployment in progress. Serious? Okay. Well, yeah, then virtual network gateway also takes time. Yeah, so while this is getting created, we can go for the on-premises side, and we can check it out what we need to do there. So on-premises side, we need a virtual machine, and that would on-premises, and it's VM. Now here I have a DC actually, but it can be DC or any type of VM connected to internet, right? So this is what we need for this particular lab, and if we go ahead with okay, so I'll go ahead and like that. Ooh, okay, Bastion. I'm going to go to that Vmware Workstation here, and in the Vmware Workstation, I have that Windows Server 2016 that we created as a domain controller for our, and I have that NAT adapter here. First adapter is the custom adapter because we configured the whole machine for Active Directory DNS, and the second one is NAT. Somehow second one was not giving me internet connection, so I created a third one here to give me internet connection, and it did give. So I'm just going to power on this machine there on premises. So once we power on the machine on premises, so there is that that's it. Now there is that script that we need to configure, and where's that script? I think I put that there already, or not. Okay, I'll put it. So what does that script do? So we can just talk about some things that we're gonna separately do here. So this is the script. Now this script actually creates a root certificate and or as many client certificate you want to create, it creates those. Suppose you have 10 clients, you can create 10 client certificates. You want to give separate type of certificate to each client. So you can revoke, suppose you want to revoke one client and client certificate but not other client certificate, so you can do that too. So I'll just paste it here, the script, and the first one, so I'll just paste the other one in the other slide. And what are we pretty much doing with this script? So I'll explain that quickly. So this is a script for root certificate creation. It's a self-signed root certificate or self-signed root certificate, and this gets connected to the virtual network gateway, and it helps us also create the client certificates as well. So with the information of this, so in this it says $cert and then new self-signed certificate type, custom key spec signature subject C and West. So here you can just change the name as well. Suppose it is P2S, but I'll just change it to, suppose it's Cloud Engineers Academy, so CEA. Okay, so you can just name change it to any name, and then the key length is key export policy. It's exportable. You can just export this certificate to anywhere, SHA-256, key length 2000, the rest of the things, and it's going to get created in the current user. So we're going to go there and check if it is created there. So this is the root certificate that I'm going to put there. Okay, so, yeah. So Jintan says, oh, license expired for me. Oh yeah, you're saying about the virtual machine. So SLMBR, oh, there you go. Vikas, it's private. You can put it on public. I think he's not able to see that. So you have to just select everyone. Oh, there. Okay. Oh, it's still private. Oh. Well, I just copied it and I put it there. So Chintan, can you try this slmgr.vbs, or yeah, Vikas has put to everyone .dli. That will extend your time for that script. Okay. So while this is going on, the other script that I was supposed to put is here. Oh, seriously, I copied that. Okay, I'll just copy it back from here, the other script. So what is this? Create client script. Now root script, as we understand that, it's going to be provided to the, it will be provided to, so I'll just put that here as well. It will be provided to the virtual network gateway, and then this is a client certificate key. So the client, this certificate will be given to client VPN connection. So if the root certificate is there, so from the root certificate we can root certificate information, we can actually create the as many client certificates. When this client certificate is given to any Windows 10 machine, from there they request the connection. So the thing is that it's going to a root certificate up there will accept this client certificate request. So I'm just gonna change that to CEA or whatever you want to give. This is just Cloud Engineers Academy. Anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna have to run these commands inside our machine. But let me just check up there what happened. Obviously, it's gonna get created now by now. So VNet is created. Yay! So once VNet is created, I can go back to what we were planning there. So that is the VNet and the default subnet. In fact, I need to just update this IP address range, because later you're going to see that in VPN we have to give a separate IP address range there, and otherwise if we give exactly this IP address range, it's not gonna, or maybe it's different subnet to the VPN to give it to other clients, it's not gonna accept that. So I'm gonna explain what I'm talking about when we reach there, but right now it's 10.0.16 here, and it's 10.0.0.0/4/25 here. 24, seriously, what's wrong with me? Now I'm just going to go for Azure VPN Gateway to connect it to this VNet, and later we can create the virtual machine while we're waiting for the VPN Gateway to connect, and also configure this on-premises environment. So the VNet is created there. I'm just going to go ahead and go to the portal menu and go down to virtual networks. So there it is, virtual network. Now this is created. I'm just going to right click and duplicate there, right? Duplicate, and now I'm going to go for creation of the virtual network gateway, and virtual network gateway, or VNG, then helps us create the gateway type VPN there. So I've created a duplicate tab here, and I'm going to go to the search, and I'm going to type here virtual network, and then you can see that there's virtual networks, there's virtual network gateway, virtual network classic. So and we can just go for virtual network gateway. This is the one. And in virtual network gateway, there's nothing created there, so I'm going to click the add button here now. Once we click the add button here, so there's that free trial. Select a virtual network to get a resource group. So it says there you want to select a resource group, but you have to select a virtual network for that. So where's the virtual network here? Hey, why is it giving me like that? Okay. Name, gateway type. Where's the VNet? Oh, virtual network is down here. If I select down here, virtual network, this is my VNet VPN. So if I select that, so up there, yeah, it derived from the virtual network resource group. So it says that, okay, we have selected the resource group for you already. Okay, that's what it says. Now, this is the virtual network gateway. I'm going to go and give some name to this. So this is Azure VNG, or virtual network gateway for VPN. Okay, so whatever name you want to give. Azure VNG for VPN, and this is just a name to the virtual network gateway. Second thing is you want to select which type of gateway you want. So this is either you want to go for VPN or express route. To connect with an existing express route circuit, select express route, and I'm going to click learn more here. So with and it takes us to exactly the same page where it is talking about the type of protocols there, and the bandwidth and the pricing, SLA for that. So pretty much we have gone through that already to check out, and I've given that page already to you. So, well, if you want to just read some more. So this is that link where we are. Okay. Oh, okay. So done. Wow, nice observation. Okay, so here I'm just gonna go for yeah, data transfer costs and everything. So yep, we've talked about that. So we're gonna select obviously VPN. That's what we are here for. And then there is VPN type. It is route based or policy based. So that is also the type of VPN you can choose depends on the make and model of your VPN device and the kind of VPN connection you intend to create. Choose a route-based gateway if you intend to use point-to-site, inter-VNet or virtual network, or multiple site-to-site connections. So that's pretty much what we normally use the VPN for, point-to-site, between two VNets, or site-to-site. If you are creating a VPN type gateway to coexist with an express route gateway, or if you need to use ICAV2 policy-based gateways support only ICAV1. So it's just saying that ICAV2 version you want to go for, then go for policy-based gateway, or you're existing with an express route, which is an expensive one that gives you dedicated connection to nearest Azure data center with your branch data center. So obviously we would go for, and majority of the sites or companies will go for point to site or site to site or VNet connection. So that would be the common scenario, unless you have express route as well. Then you can't use route based, because express route is also already giving you that route based connectivity. Then you go for policy based and implement some policies of VPN while using with the express route gateway. I'm going to click learn more here for that, and hopefully it does not take me to the same page. Yeah. So connect Azure VPN gateways to multiple on-premises policy-based VPN devices using PowerShell. So about policy-based versus route-based devices differ in how the IPsec traffic selectors are set on a connection. So what is IPsec? Internet Protocol Security, right? So IPsec really saves you from hacker connection, and it's kind of a relief there that if you have IPsec there, it checks your origin of connection. It checks if there was a disconnectivity, and then are you the that branch from which you're supposed connected, is that the same person we're still connected, or now are we connected to some hacker or after disconnectivity or brief disconnectivity. And it checks all the data that is moving. It checks a lot of different factors of this connection for security purpose, hence the name IPsec. Policy-based VPN devices use the combinations of prefixes from both networks to define how traffic is encrypted, decrypted through IPsec tunnels. And it is typically built on firewall devices that perform packet filtering. IPsec tunnel encryption and decryption are added to the packet filtering and processing engine. So each packet is filtered and processed and checking out that if it is legit traffic. And route-based VPN device uses any-to-any wildcard traffic selectors and let routing forwarding tables direct traffic to different IPsec tunnels. It is typically built on router platforms where each IPsec tunnel is modeled as a network interface or VTI, virtual tunnel interface. So you can go and do some in-depth reading on that as well. But the main thing, we understand which scenario we use route-based, and which scenario we use the policy-based. Then there is queue, and we talked about that. Hey, you want more bandwidth, more speed. Obviously, they're going to charge you more. Keep going above, ahead, and the whole page is there that tells you that which gateway 1, gateway 2, gateway 3, 4, 5, 6, how they all work. So obviously, we need to make a point-to-site connection, so we're not going to go for basic. Basic is too basic. So that's why we're going to go for at least VPN gateway here, where at least it's giving us the point to site. This is a list here, and so P2S is not even supported there, so that's not good. That's why we're going to stick to at least VPN gateway 1 here, right? So anyway, we're going to still, so VPN gateway 1 is good, and then generation 1, there is a long list of generations here, not. So when you drop down, obviously the generation is not showing there. Suppose I go for express route, so no generations here as well. If we go for policy based, yes, it just only supports right now generation 1. And oh, okay, I haven't gone for the toughest one. Suppose I go for that. Generation 2 starts from yeah, that was actually in the table as well. That generation 2 actually starts from VPN GW2. So just the 2, and 1 AZ, 2 AZ, 3 AZ are all only supporting generation 1 with these speeds and performances. So I'll just go back to this one, VPN GW1 and generation 1. So here, and then virtual network, yes, we already created that, so we're good. And if we go to the gateway subnet address range, so only virtual networks in the currently selected subscription and region are listed here. So yeah, your clients that are in your VNet that has this IP range, and from there they're going to get an IP. So other than that, public IP address, so that is create new and configure gateway IP configuration. So that is already something that public IP address you want to give to the gateway. Obviously, how would the gateway be available over the internet if it does not have a public IP address? So it has to have gateway itself has to have public IP. The machines behind it will be all private IP based. So we're gonna give that name here. So well, it could be gateway pip or public IP, right? Or gateway pip 1, gateway pip 2 if you have multiple public IPs given to the gateway. Okay, so that is their public IP address queue. It's basic, yeah, that's the only package. And then assignment dynamic doesn't let us go for static. Enable active mode, and that would be that the gateway queue must be a VPN gateway 1, 2, 3, 1AZ, 2AZ, 3AZ, or high performance legacy SKU here. So it's just saying that there's a active mode, and then there is a if you enable that, suppose, so second public IP address, it's going to ask that, okay, if from this public IP you cannot connect to the gateway, you can go for second public IP as well, and that is active, which means that it's going to do LB. What is LB? Oh yeah, there you go, redundancy. So this is for redundancy and multiple connections. So I'm just going to disable that. And then there's that border gateway protocol can be only configured with route-based VPN gateway with supported SKU type of VPN GW1, VPN GW2, and GW3. So that is then a BGP or border gateway protocol. We can stick to the static traffic there. And there's that Azure recommends using a validated VPN device with your virtual network gateway. To view a list of validated devices and instructions for configuration, refer to Azure's documentation regarding validated VPN devices. Okay, what is validated VPN devices? Or which are those? Yeah.
I just want to know that here we are using public IP just because we are working over the internet, that's why?
Yes. Otherwise, we can connect to the virtual network gateway, so it's a must to give it to the gateway at least.
Okay.
Okay, so here about VPN devices and IPsec IKE parameters for site-to-site VPN gateway connection. So a VPN device is required to configure site-to-site or cross-premises VPN connection using a VPN gateway. Site-to-site connections can be used to create a hybrid solution. Okay, items to note when viewing the tables and validated VPN devices and device configuration guide. So there are 8N networks and their devices, Thunder, CFW, and well, all those. Then Allied, Telesis, Arista, Barracuda, Checkpoint, Cisco devices. Cisco, pretty much ASA is also supported. Obviously, it has to. It's Cisco's global leader in those. Citrix devices are also good. F5 devices are also good. Fortinet, very famous among small, medium-sized, and big companies. Hillstone networks, and it goes on and on. Juniper, Microsoft, Open Systems, Microsoft routing and remote access services, right? So, and Sonic Wall, Sophos, all the Zyxel, WatchGuard, so all and Ubiquiti, Synology, all the famous ones are there. So these are the validated devices, or Microsoft has tested the VPN connectivity from these devices to their Azure Virtual Network Gateway. So I'll just put that list here for and then go for that question as well. Okay, let me just. So Mohammed says, if the public IP changed, that what will happen? So public IP, we have to take care of that if it is dynamic. Obviously, we will talk to the support. Hey, we need a static public IP to connect to our gateway. Otherwise, I don't think the client can keep update on the dynamic public IP. For test lab, we're not communicating to the support. Otherwise, obviously, we will purchase, or the company has to purchase a static. It has to be static public IP in production environments. Yeah, or Milap says third-party DNS host. Yeah, just like you know this OpenDNS. So OpenDNS. So that OpenDNS also works wonders. It's really cool. So anyway, that or any of those if you want to use. Otherwise, talk to the support and pay more a little, right? Or no name. Oh yeah, okay. No name. Hey, did you use no name actually? No name. So no name is a group. They're rappers. Hey, what you gonna do? Okay, so no name actually DNS. I should just go for DNS here. Yeah. No IP, free dynamic DNS. Hey, there is no name for no name. Okay, anyway, so yeah, let's go ahead and oh, no IP. Okay, so it's no IP.
I mean no, I mean no IP.
Yeah.
I mean no IP. Yeah.
Okay, so no IP. Well, I was gonna search that. It's already there.
Yeah. I use no IP. Yeah, with the PF sense.
Oh, okay, good. Thanks.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'll get to it afterwards. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, let's get going. So yeah, we get to know about the documentation and those devices that are validated, and pretty much all the mainstream vendors are there for the VPN devices. So now we're gonna go for next tags. And in the tags we can go for name, and that is VNG for VPN. Okay, we'll just put some name there. So virtual network gateway for the virtual private network. Okay, I'm gonna go for review plus create. And that's it. So let's click create and wait for 45 minutes. Yay! Okay, so I'm gonna click that create now. And now if anyone has any jokes to share, let me know. And anyone wants to sing here. Okay, just kidding. So let's go for the rest of the task while this will take forever to go for. And remember that I'm in Scarborough. So, you know, I've really made that my town actually so infamous now. Okay, so here, while it is going on, what we can do is we can do the rest of the tasks. So first of all, if I go back to this environment, do we still have that virtual machine? Because that virtual machine RDP connection is going to tell us that it did our VPN really works. Although there are many other proofs as well that VPN is connected. But obviously, if we can't connect to this machine, private machine, we cannot really, have fun with the confirmation. So this VM will have private IP, and we're going to make sure it has. So the only way to connect from this local on-premises to this private IP-based VM is the VPN. And, we don't consider that if you connect from browser from the Bastion subnet as connecting to private IP, because if you want to give that to users, you won't be giving users the Bastion host access there. You would be telling the users, hey, just connect through VPN to this machine and do your work. Okay, so that's to keep them away from the Azure dashboard. Also, you would just give the VPN connectivity to those clients. Maybe there are hundreds of clients there, right? Okay, so Manav says if we have multiple VNets, will this VPN configuration also allow access to them? So per VNet, one VPN gateway. So and yes, last class we did talk about that. If you have two VNets and VNet peering is there, so you can have VNet with one VPN gateway in one VNet configured, and the traffic from that VNet can go to other VNets. So you can have like 20 VNets separately also connected, but when you peer them, when you're doing peering, any one VNet is allowed to have a VPN gateway, and the rest of the 20, suppose, must not have the gateway. So that is how it works with peering connections, specifically with peering connections, right? And that's pretty much what we do when we have multiple VNets. We peer them. Okay, so that is. So I'm going to create a quick virtual machine here, and I'm going to make sure that it's just having the private IP and connected to the correct VNet here. let's go for the virtual machine. Then we're going to go for on-premises configuration, and we're going to be very careful about creating those self-signed certificates with the PowerShell and export them as well. So 7:45 is the time, and this dude has just started to get created, right? So this virtual network gateway, so 7:45, right? Just remember that. And let us go ahead. So I'm just gonna go for that virtual machine, and I'll go to the first tab here where the VNet is already created. I'm gonna go to the portal menu here and go down and virtual machines here, and that's it. One virtual machine to that VNet. I'm gonna create now virtual machine, same resource group, and virtual machine name. So your first name VM dash Azure site. Well, you can give some weird name as well. Okay, so that's virtual machine, Azure site virtual machine. And region is East US, obviously. Availability options, we don't need to select that for this particular lab. In production environment, I would definitely go for the availability set. Here, I'm just going for Windows Server 2019 data center, or whichever you want. So I'll go for selecting DS1, then again I'll select back DTOS, which is 2 vCPUs and 8 GB RAM. And yes, the usual, what we do always with the virtual machine, right? So your first name admin, small MC, all right, so confirm password, yep. And then we're just allowing RDP, right? So but you can allow any other port if you want, but once the VPN connection is connected, done from the VPN client on our local machine to the VPN gateway in Azure, so then you can just open any ports between this machine and that machine. So I'm just going for RDP. That's going to prove us about the correct configuration of VPN. So RDP is there, and I'm going to click disks. So nothing in the disks, and I'll click networking. So there's that VNet, VPN, P2S, and subnet. So there is that default subnet here. This one says AZ is more reliable than availability set. Availability zone. Oh, well, availability zone is across the zone, so that is more reliable actually. And availability set is within the zone, but across different data centers, but within one zone. If the zone level outage occurs, then we're stuck with availability set. Across the zone is better. Okay, so here I'm just gonna make sure that public IP is not given, so I'm just gonna click none here for public IP. And then there is that network security group, and I'll stick to basic here. We're not opening any further ports here. You want to go ahead and open more ports, it's up to you. So RDP connection here, and that's it. No load balancing, no accelerated networking. I'm going to click that. Yep.
Did you select none before? Like
Yeah, this one.
none. No, not this one. The public inbound ports.
Oh, that inbound. No, we did not go for none. We actually allowed it.
All right. Okay.
We're not going for NSGs.
Okay. Thank you.
And in the network, yes, it automatically detected the only network we have and the only subnet we have, which is okay. But we're going for none for public IP here, and we're not selecting network security group. We don't need to. If we have multiple ports and this NSG is connecting to so many virtual machines, then you can go for that. Otherwise, we don't need to. And then we click management. So in the management, there is nothing to choose. So I'll click advanced. And in the advanced, not much other than if I go down there, so Gen 2 out of habit, and well, it has more security features. So generation 2 machine, I'm selecting and click tags. Go for a name, value here. So VPN lab P2S, point to site. So VPN lab P2S, right? And we click review plus create. That's it. Okay, so and then create. So it's a private IP based now. The only way to connect to this is through the VPN. And well, the Bastion is also there, but it's not for end users. Bastion is normally for administrators of Azure or developers. So the virtual machine is getting created here, and that is okay. And it will have actually the IP. It will be 10.0.0.4. So this will be the IP of this machine. Now this IP we need to connect from our own premises, from our laptop or from the virtual machine inside our laptop with just private IP. Well, we have to prove that it's through VPN we connected. So now we got down to this and try to go for the on-premises side of the tasks. In my case, I have a domain controller, but it doesn't have to be that. It could normally it's a Windows 10 machine, the client machines from which the employees and people are developers are connected or administrators are connected. So I'm just going to go down to the Vmware Workstation here, and inside the Vmware Workstation, I'm going to make sure that first of all that I have the internet connection on this local machine. So I'm going to click settings here. And Monday or Sunday it's going to open. Maybe today. Okay, tomorrow. Okay. So there you have, well, as I mentioned before as well, so the local network card here and then the NAT to give us internet connection. So I'm just going to press, I didn't make any change here. So I'm going to cancel out from here and just click these three buttons to send, control, or delete. And connect from here with the local password, the class password. So once we are inside, now guys, I did some testing already there. Obviously, without testing, how can I do the lab? So this means that I have created. Well, I changed the name in the script for the certificate. So what I'm trying to say here is I did create the certificates before here as well. I tested on this machine, but that should not be an issue. Should not be an issue. So what are our next steps basically? First of all, I'll check that if the big beast has deployed. And are you kidding me? Oh, it didn't take 45 minutes actually. So this means I should hurry up. So 7:45 and 7:53. Are you kidding me? So guys, you should all move to Scarborough because it's really good speed here for internet. That was really fast, but okay. Anyway, 45 till 53. No way. When I tested that, it actually took 45 minutes. So let's go ahead and so next steps. Let's try to understand those. Okay, so the PS will be here in Windows. PowerShell, exactly. It will be in the Windows. Okay, why in Windows? Because we're creating self-signed certificates somewhere. Now, in production environment, what you would have done is you would have gone to obviously those sites there that no name. Oh no, just kidding. So it was like DigiCert, suppose digicert.com, and there you would have gone for some certificate, Secure Site Pro SSL or those certificates. Then you would have encoded or encarved. Wow, what a name! So what a way to say it. But you would have given those names there for the clients and for the root certificate as well. So and paid $200 for each certificate, or actually more. So depends on that. But here we're going to create our certificate inside the virtual machine. So I'm going to go inside and yeah, first of all, yeah, what is the plan here? The plan is create open PowerShell here and with admin privileges, and then go for the certificate creation. So run the root command here. So it will be root certs here, And first we're going to create with PowerShell cert root cert, and then we're going to create a client cert. The root cert key will be given to the gateway, and client cert will be actually placed here inside. So let's do that now with the PowerShell script. So let me just paste it there as well, if anyone is silently and secretly following, and silently, secretly, seriously. Okay. Here, I'll just go ahead. This is the root key, so it will be provided with the virtual network. So this is create a root cert. It says there in the comment as well. So I'll just put it here. Okay. So, and the root cert here as well. You know, I forgot to add 24 more students from somewhere here. So you will see a lot of members here. Okay, and that's the root cert. It says in the comment on the top, root cert, and then I'm going to go for the client cert as well. I'll copy that. So just to not have confusion, client cert script, and that would be this. Okay, so here also in WhatsApp, client cert script, and then here. Okay, obviously that comments line is not supposed to be executed. So first of all, we're gonna open PowerShell. So the steps are there as well. Copy the key from VNet Gateway. Okay, so this means we're on this side. On premises, create a start a virtual machine. We started it already. Create a root cert and client cert with PowerShell. We're about to do that now, right? And then, okay, first let's do that. First, let's just create that. I'll go back here and I'll delete it from the documents. Ignore that. Okay, anyway, so here I'm going to go inside the virtual machine to the PowerShell and open the PowerShell. Right click and go run as administrator, or go more and run as administrator. So once you open the PowerShell with administrator, so then I'll go for the first script. Now the first script creates a root certificate, self-signed certificate, that will be connected to the virtual network gateway. So how do we create that? We just simply copy, paste, and run the script. So I'll simply do that now, and there's the script here. And so I'll just start obviously from the $sign. It uses a variable there and then puts all the information there. Control C, and just this much, and right click and enter. So, well, the prompt comes, which means that it worked, or no news is good news, right? Since there's no news here, hey, you missed this, you missed that, so it's okay. Root cert has been created, and I think they put it inside as a document, the folder. Oh, no, okay. Quick access. Okay, no, it's gonna be, I'll show you where it is in the certificates area and the user certificates area, well, by going through MMC, Microsoft Management Console, right? But this is the root cert. Let's just create our client cert. You can create, suppose you had 10 virtual machines, so you can create it 10 times different client cert for different Windows 10 machine, or whichever Windows or Linux. So I'll go for, this is a client, create client cert, right? So new self-signed certificate, type custom DNS name, Peter's child cert, and then we're just going to give this, create this client certificate to give it to the client. And when you press enter, so it just gives you a separate thumbprint here. Normally the thumbprint is what that is unique, and this is you can just call it client cert 1. Suppose you want to run it again for, suppose you have another machine. From there you want to make a VPN connection and you want to use a separate certificate, client certificate for that. So you can run this command. Before running this command, you can just change here the name of the client, this is client cert 1, you can just change that name to client cert 2 and then run it, and then client cert 3 and then run it. Or simply suppose the Windows 10 name is actually company client 1, so you can actually name that with that machine. It's a user certificate, it's not a machine certificate. Okay, so one root certificate that will be given to that virtual network gateway, and the other one is client certificate that is will be given to this machine here. And when will you give that? Once you download the VPN client, and make a VPN connection in this machine. With that, you need to attach a client certificate. So if I mention that or say that in English, so it would be that you would create a VPN connection here, right? So and I'm going to show, obviously that's our next steps now. VPN connection. Obviously you need to have some kind of VPN client to make a VPN connection, and then when it is installed, VPN connection does what? Or VPN client does what? It helps you connect to the gateway. So that VPN connection, when it connects, so you must, before that, you need to connect the client cert with it. Without that, obviously, you won't be able to. Suppose we don't connect a client certificate to the VPN connection. So when you make a VPN connection without that, it's just not going to connect. So as soon as you attach that client certificate, after that you make a connection, it's going to connect right away. Because the root certificate sitting there will recognize this client certificate, right? Okay, with the same script, with same type of information, we create the client certificate. So once that is created here, now where are those client certificates? So I obviously have created just millions of screenshots there with arrow signs there. So that's a lot of effort. But this is also good for me for all future, maybe for next 2 years. I think I'm good now. So but yes, obviously it's a hard. It's also a hard work. But if we have a lab, that is always a good idea. So let me just go to that area where I tested and created all the screenshots there. Okay, that was VPN Client, so I should have gone down, actually, not up. So we open that. Yes, we created the root cert, the client cert, and then we can go to the MMC now. We need to check where are these guys, the root cert and the client cert. So for that, we're going to go to run, and we're going to type MMC. Okay, we now says for the client cert, how is it referring to the root cert to use it to authenticate itself? Itself, or that's a question. So how is it referring to the root cert? So root cert information was used to create the client cert. So that's why root certificate will recognize this information there as well. New self-signed certificate, custom, key spec, subject, and then so first the root cert was created, then the root cert information was taken and used inside this client cert to create a client cert. So this script is created in such a way that whatever the result of the root cert, it just referred to that and created a client cert. So that's why root cert will be able to recognize the client cert. That's first thing. Second thing, yes, it is for authentication of the VPN client. When you're using the client cert to authenticate the VPN connection, if the client cert is recognized by the root cert that, oh yeah, I recognize this guy, so then you will be able to make a VPN connection. So it's for authentication of the client. Okay, so Milab says to use it. Okay, $cert is the reference. Oh, okay, so you were saying reference in such a way, this way. Well, you said $cert. Really? Where did they use $cert?
It's client cert. Should be.
Oh yeah, dollar client cert. So they didn't use the dollar itself, but the client cert. So if we go for no, this $cert is a variable, right? So did we use that variable here to refer the client cert information to the $cert? So normally it is referring to this current cert store location, right? So this is the client one, and the $1 is also referring to the same store where the root was created. So that would be it. Otherwise, $cert, I don't see that variable being used here in the client thread. Minus singer, or maybe, there you go, you're right. Hey, nice observation. Yes, this is $cert being used. So $cert, the whole thing, it was saved in this variable and is being used here. Good observation. Thank you for that. Thanks for noticing that and sharing it. Okay, $cert is you're able to store this. Yep. Okay, so that's very good. And share key and other keys should match. Yes, but the main thing, yes, it's the $cert. You're right. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and try to go. Where are these guys created right now? They are in the certificates. MMC console. Through certificates MMC console, we're going to be able to see that. What am I talking about? Certificate MMC console. Yes, let's go there. Where? There. Okay, right click and go to run and type MMC. That is Microsoft Management Console, or as Mohammed says, certmanager.msc. Exactly, there also we can go directly certmgr.msc. So yeah, let me just show the long way first, and then I'll go directly that way as well. But thank you for sharing that. So MMC, press OK, and then we can go to File, and there is Add Remove Snap in here. From there, you can go to Certificates. Now this certificate can open directly with what Mohammed said. So certificates, if you go and then click Add, so there's that user account. So we just need to select the certificates here and then click Add, and then select the My User Account here and click Finish. So current user, once selected, then we can press O and K. So it's the user related security certificates. If you want to see, then you connect this way to this area, right? So I'm going to expand that certificates area and then go for personal, and then certificates. So if you go to the personal and then certificates, you will see the certificates that you have created there. Yeah, it's CEA. Okay, these are the names I gave. Okay, can delete that. Yes. Well, there will be other certificates that you might see, but those we don't have to really. They're for different purposes. So here, this is the client certificate, and this is a root certificate that got created. And what we need to actually do is export these certificates to outside maybe any folder, so we could use them separately. Client certificate we need to use for this machine, and root certificate we need to actually export it and then copy its key and tell the virtual network gateway, hey virtual network gateway, this is the root cert information you're getting when the client cert is used to connect and request VPN connection. So please tell the root cert to check if the information in the client cert is okay or not. So anyway, what we need to do is we need to export these certificates outside and grab their information and use them for our VPN purpose, VPN lab. So I'm going to go for exporting this, and obviously I have those screenshots here as well that with arrows, why I'm just referring to with arrows again and again. Okay, so the root certificate I selected here, and then all tasks, and then export. And once we export, do not export the private key, and then base64 CER file we're going to choose there. I'm going to reach till here, and the rest is just save. So we're simply exporting the certificate to extract information out of that to give to the virtual network gateway. For that, we need to export the certificate first, right? So I'm just going to go back here and right click on this root certificate, go to all tasks and export, right? So once we export, then welcome to the certificate export wizard, and click next. So there is no, do not export the private key, which is okay, or export the private key, it's up to you, and you can save it somewhere. if the private key is lost, you cannot actually open the encrypted data, or you cannot decrypt that data which was encrypted with the help of the certificate. Yeah, sometimes there are birds going around our head when we are talking about certificate and security. So just like we used to see that in Tom and Jerry. Tom gets hit with a big thing and the birds start. Oh, what am I talking about? Okay, let's go ahead. So yeah, no, do not export the private key, and then click next. And then just the base 64, how do you want to encode all the information inside the certificate here? So then there is base 64 encoded x.509 type certificate .cer, and then we click next. We need to save this information, so specify the name of the file you want to export. I just want to export this and browse. So where do you want to save it? In documents folder or wherever you want. So this is, I'll just call it root cert _for_ VPN, right? And or name it anything and click save. So once you click save, yeah, it says, hey, this is the pathway you're saving. Are you sure? Sure. We say, yeah, we're sure. And click next. Then it says, okay, you want to save, that's okay. Let's click finito. And the export was successful. Now that was exported to the documents folder, and I'm going to show you then how to use that, but it's exported for us, that's good. And then we actually need to export the client certificate here as well, with a bit slightly different settings there. I'm just going to go to my screenshots there, and we went for client certificate, all tasks, export, but yes, we want the private key. In the case of client certificate, that private key will be used to connect to the VPN client, and we want to set up these options as well. This is a .bfx file for the client that we use, and then we're actually going to give password to that client certificate as well. That password will be required when you're connecting from VPN client to the virtual network gateway. So okay, so I'll have to reach here and check the settings. Yep, that's it. So I'll just come back here and export this client certificate as well. This will be used with our local machine here, and since we have just one virtual machine, so that's why I'm using this one certificate. This one certificate can be given to 10 virtual machines as well, right? That same one certificate can be divided, given copy to all 10 virtual machines. Suppose you have 10, but if you revoke this certificate, all 10 virtual machines will not be able to connect from VPN client to virtual network gateway. But that's why they say that, hey, just create a new one separate client certificate per separate virtual machine. Anyway, so you can revoke one client certificate and it will not revoke or block access for all others. I'm going to right click here for the client certificate and go to all tasks and go to export. And then I'm going to click next. So yes, I will just export the private key and we will use that with the client later, you will see. Next, and then there is include all certificates in the certificate path if possible. Certificate path just means that, hey, client certificate, who do you belong to? Do you have a root certificate? Do you have a CA or certificate authority? So that's called then certification path. And also enable certificate privacy, which is going to click that as well. So not all the information can be revealed by just double clicking. So these two we're selecting and then click next. So it's up to us. You want to give a password or not, or you want to give access to some users to this and remove access for other users. I'll actually go for password, so we could just check it out when we are starting a client connection, that where does this ask for the password to be given. So I want to show you that as well. So small ABC, ABC, shape123, so whatever password you want to give here for this certificate to be accessed and used, right? So we can give a password to this certificate or client certificate as well. Okay, so Milab says, does the Azure VPN Gateway have tool to generate a VPN installer package that has the VPN client and the client cert like OpenVPN. Yes, we're about to do that. So there's just a download VPN client button there that you will see, and it will simply download a VPN client that you can just double click and use. So yes, we're going to be seeing that now, but I don't know why it doesn't show all types of clients there, but we're going to check that out as well. So right now on the client side, we're just giving a password to that. It's totally optional, but obviously important. So I'm going to click next, and where do you want to save it? So I'm just going to click browse here, and the documents folder. So we can say client cert for VPN client. Okay, client cert for VPN client. Do I need to extend the period of expire date of certificate? No. Hey, so Mohammed was suggested something at the start of this lab, right? So so this is my suggestion that everyone should follow and let me I'm just kidding. Okay, so let's go ahead. When you were asking, so I was like trying to suppress that laughter. Oh yeah. Hey, you're following me. So yeah, so it's okay, guys. It's good to follow, but that suggestion was very good as well.
No, I'm not. I'm not doing the lab with you, Flo. Just this question has come. It's come because it might the certificate expire,
Yes.
and yeah, we need to check if it expires soon. We can extend the time period to ensure that the certificate has long time to be proceed. That's why just I'm asking.
Okay, I
Just
thought you were following, so that was nice. Okay, so well, the time extension is normally configured with the certificate authority or CA. Suppose we have ADCS, Active Directory Certificate Services, then we can extend the time there. Although obviously with the PowerShell commandlet, we can extend the time for this one as well. This will not be used with in production environment. You will have a CA there, and then from the CA, yes, we can extend the time. Here it's like nobody uses actually self-signed certificate, but it's a very good example. Actually, Azure accepts that. That's amazing enough that we're able to do this lab. If Azure said it used to not accept that, and that's why I was thinking, hey, how can I do the lab if I had to purchase a certificate? But now I saw that they have allowed even self-signed certificates, which is strange. But yes, for any other extra features, normally we should have a CA or certificate authority. Guys, anyone here have installed ADCS before? Ever heard of ADCS or?
yes, yeah, I did.
Great. Okay, cool. So ADCS, Active Directory Certificate Services. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a long one. And so yeah, that's in 70-742, and I have shown that lab in the video in 70-742 course as well. So you can check it out, and it's good to actually do that lab and install the certificate services yourself as well. Okay, guys. So client cert for VPN client, and I'm gonna click save, and that's it. Next, finish, right? Next, finish. The export was successful. So now we know that we have exported the certificate to the documents folder. So Waqas says here, as you mentioned, self sign. Hey, self sync. Yeah. Okay. No, self sign is not recommended for production, but can I use configure ADCS for this lab? Yes, you can. Well, that would be better. That you use ADCS. It's not that. Yeah, if you want to use it, this is going to be better than doing it this way. Definitely. Obviously it will be very secure. Normally, for the certificate, suppose you go for ADCS. So there is one problem with that. One slight problem we can say. Okay, it's not slight actually, big one. So certificate, there are internal CAs and then there are external CAs, right? So internal CAs are used for on-premises or within your LAN. Within your LAN, maybe it's a big company and you actually have 100,000 machines there. That's a big company, right? So, but within under one roof, you have many floors there, or a big area there, and that's all LAN. So you use internal CA. But for outside resources, as soon as you leave your company and go to the internet, you need external CAs for those. So that's why, yeah, for this lab, yes, you can use production environment. No, you have to go for external CA in production environment, purchase certificate from there, and that's it. You would have to hard code the names of these machines into the certificate. Suppose this machine name is vm.bitcoin. Whatever the FQDN is, bitcoin.local. So if the FQDN is this, you have to actually hard code that. So when you're purchasing the certificate, you will tell that what it depends on what type of certificate you're purchasing. First of all, is it a wildcard certificate or is it a subject alternative name? There are two types of more common certificates. Otherwise, there are many types there. So wildcard certificate is that you just star dot domain name. So you purchase a certificate and you attach it to multiple servers there, right? While this is a wildcard certificate, right? SAN certificate is you hard code the actual name of a website or a machine into the certificate. Now that SAN or subject alternative name certificate will be dedicated only for this particular virtual machine. Suppose you have 200 virtual machines and critical ones are 50 of them. So you need to purchase 50 certificates. Normally they are very less machines. Any machine that is going to receive traffic from outside of your organization and dealing with outside traffic of your organization must have certificate from external CA. And for more security, it should be SAN certificate, subject alternative name. But for lesser, if you're within the LAN and you still boss says no, I'm gonna purchase from external CA, you can go for cheaper certificate, wildcard certificate as well. So any machine, any name you can attach to your star machine, server 1 dot domain, server 2 dot domain, server 3 dot domain. It's a bit insecure as well because hackers can also come in and then attach their machine star dot domain, right? So, okay, and then Vikas says, in that case, external CA, I need to purchase if I am connecting from on-premise to Azure. For lab, no, you don't need to, external CA. If you're going that way, I think they may give you a trial version of 15 days or 3 days or 4 days. You can try that. For the lab purpose, in production environments, they purchase it for 1 year, so obviously it's but 15 days normally those certificates have limited features, and that's why some of the labs are not done, but some of the labs are doable. So that's why, yeah, you can use that for lab as well. If you go for external CA, just check that, hey, how long are they giving me this certificate as a trial? Some sites just say plainly, hey, pay and go. That's it. Okay, so, well, this is the discussion for the certificate, and I normally save here. Okay, let's go back here, and I'm going to go back to this documents, and in the documents I can see that the certificates I've exported are here in the documents folder. And so what we need to do next is we're going to go for we're going to open the root certificate inside the notepad. We need that key to be copied from the root cert and then pasted inside the virtual gateway. So root cert needs to be opened with notepad, copy the key and put it in a virtual gateway where that's what we're going to see now. So virtual gateway will know, oh, okay, there's a root certificate here, and this guy will check that which client certificate is good and which is not. So let's do this now, and I'm gonna actually double check because I don't do that every day, and that hence everyone should have a documentation there. So I'm just gonna right click the notepad here. Open the root cert with notepad. Yeah, there you go. once we open the root cert with Notepad, you can see this begin certificate and end certificate. This is the 2000 character 2048 to be exact, 84 I think. The key that we need to copy to the virtual network gateway, right? So now it says, will it not import the whole cert? No, if we give the key, that also works fine. We can import the cert as well. We can put the key and it's gonna work exactly the same thing. It has all the information. So in that case, we don't need to import the cert. Okay, so I'm just gonna go for root cert here for VPN and go for open with. And if you don't see Notepad, then just click open with and then click a down arrow and it will open the Notepad, right? So I'm just gonna click the Notepad here and so guys, you need to select exactly from, suppose this is M, not suppose, it is M, from M till M, wow, M and M, right? But you cannot select this area, you cannot select that area, otherwise it's not going to work. Or if the last letter is gone, first letter is gone, it's not going to work. So it has to be exactly this key, and I'm going to copy that. But where are we going to use this? So I'm going to go back to the gateway, virtual network gateway, and in the virtual network gateway, what we can do is we can go to the resource, or we can just click on the search, and the recent services we have used virtual network gateway already. So I'm going to click that, and it's going to take us to the dashboard where one virtual network gateway is created. I'm going to go inside that virtual network gateway. So inside there is actually that point to site configuration. That's the main area where we need to start the configuration for the VPN. So I'm going to click that point to site configuration here, and there, you know, it's a bit more simplistic than the VPN gateway we saw in AWS. It says that point to site is not configured. Obviously, we're going to configure that now. So let's click configure now. And it says here very few questions, and that is address pool first of all. And address pool is what it's asking is that when the clients ask for connection here, so suppose this is one client asking for connectivity, so then suppose there's another client from that branch that also wants to connect to VPN, then the third client wants to connect, fourth client wants to connect. So when these clients connect, the DHCP of VPN, the VPN DHCP, that is VPN DHCP, has to provide some kind of IP address. So we are giving an IP range here. IP range needs to be assigned to VPN gateway, so it could give IPs to VPN client machines. So whatever IP range we're about to give will be distributed to one IP. Oh, you're requesting VPN client. Okay, root cert, can you check? Yes, this is my client cert, let him go. So then once the security check is done, the VPN IP range, from IP range, it will give one DHCP IP here, one IP there, one IP there. So this means that you will have two IPs. One IP is your local IP here, and the other IP will be actually your VPN IP. So that will be another proof that once you are connected successfully, so you will see local IP and one IP assigned by VPN as well. So you will have actually two IPs as long as you are connected successfully to the VPN, right? So that will be a proof that local IP and VPN IP once it is connected. Now that's the range we're distributing, and you can actually distribute that range here. You can actually distribute that range as 172, right? So it doesn't have to be, in fact, it's not going to allow you to do that. You can just give here a totally separate range, right? So once you give, suppose this range, it's not suppose we're going to actually give this range in IP pool. So the good thing is, first of all, in the monitoring software, that will check that, hey, okay, suppose you have local VNet based machines are 200, and there are 20 more machines that are connected through VPN. So the machines whose IPs are starting with 172.16, you will know right away, oh yeah, these are all VPN machines. Okay, this guy is connecting from outside. Oh, 10.0.0, yes, these are our local VNet machines. So the IP range that you're specifically giving here, so in monitoring software, you will be understanding that which connections are coming from outside because of this IP, right? And the good thing is, suppose you want to give, so we have used already in 10 range 2 subnets, right? This is actually not 0. I forgot to put it here. It is 1. No, it is actually 0. The Boston subnet is actually 1, right? The Boston one. So I could give here 10.0.2 because that's a next available subnet. It's gonna say that you cannot use the 10 range at all. That's a good thing, right? So give it a totally different range. So it just says it overlaps. Even if you give a subnet that you haven't used yet, it's going to say, no, I'm not allowing you to do that. So that's a good thing. And so that this is the IP address pool. So what I can do is 172.16.0.0 /24, right? So I'm giving this IP range. When you click actually save, then it says, suppose you did give that 10 range and you want to check that, so you can go for the VNG is 2.0. Yeah, it is the virtual network gateway range we have given is 192.168 10.0.2.0. Is that what you're saying? Safe. Okay, so yeah, this is for the clients and has nothing to do with the range that is already given to the gateway. Gateway for its own working, it has that range, but this is going to be given to the clients connecting from outside. So it's okay. Cool. And then guys, you can see the tunnel type. So it says that, hey, which protocol you're about to use. So there is SSTP, Secure Socket Tunneling Protocol, ICAV is there, and then ICAV 2 and OpenVPN SSL is there, ICAV 2 and SSTP SSL. So this is actually more secure. So there's that all types of protocols there that you can use. SSTP, the good thing is that you don't have to open any extra ports there in your firewall, network firewall, because it just uses 443. But ICAV uses two separate ports there. So I'm just gonna still click that ICAV and SSTP. Well, this is more secure. We can just go for SSTP or only ICAV as well. So this is this seems to be the securest here, if that's a word. So, and then it says that, hey, are you connecting, authentication type is Azure certificate? Yes. So then it says, oh, okay, so you must have a root certificate then. And we say, yes, we have actually a root certificate. So we can just name it root cert for VPN, or whatever name you want to give. And remember that key that we were copying, the page is still open in the virtual machine. I'm going to right click here and copy again that key from here, and we need to paste it here. And if I click anywhere else, yeah, it got added. So you can see that it's the root certificates written here, but you can also see that there's a revoked certificates. So if you get a thumbprint of a certificate and place it here, then you would see that, you know, it's the that certificate will be revoked. So what is a thumbprint? If I go back here and show you quickly here, this is suppose the client certificate, right? In fact, there's MMC open here as well, and this is the client certificate here that was created. If I double click that and go to details and go down to thumbprint. So this is a thumbprint or unique ID of this certificate. So this is a client certificate from which we intend to connect, right? So if I just copy this and take it there and put it in that revoked certificates here, then this certificate you cannot use. It's revoked, and you just simply can't use that certificate anymore, right? So revocation is available here as a feature to stop anyone connect here with VPN using this particular client certificate. Okay, so we got this configured, and that's well, these are the configurations here. But if I click save, does it let me go ahead? So I'm going to click save.
Where we got this public certificate data?
This is from the root certificate. So what I did was I went to the documents where the root certificate I exported, and I right clicked here and opened with Notepad, and this is the key that I copied from here and put it there. So it just gets all the information about that certificate from that key. So all right, welcome. And it's still saving. Okay. Yeah, well, Mohammed Awad says it looks easier than AWS VPN. So AWS VPN, yes, it was actually site-to-site VPN that we did there. So site-to-site VPNs are always more, you know, difficult and complicated. But this one, yeah, it's point-to-site. So point-to-site there in AWS would also be something like that, or even easier than that. Okay, so but yes, when we go for site to site here as well, then the challenge arrives. You know, the more complicated settings we understand, the better. So one day, Monday or Sunday, it's gonna finish. And so that download VPN client, this is here. And well, in AWS VPN, you may have noticed that it gave a lot of different vendors there and their configurations. Here, download VPN client, that's it. It just downloads a file, and you can run it on Windows, and there you go. You just get connected. So that is. Oh, okay, it's connected. So, well, it's created. So this means that it accepted the key, it accepted the whole configuration. That's good news. Now, what we need to do is we need to download this client. So in the diagram, it would be then just go ahead and, well, we're going to download the client from here, and we have to place it inside a machine, and we need to simply run that client. Running that client will actually automatically configure in the background your VPN connection. So I'm going to tell you then where to go and check it out. Beside the network cards, right? So the VPN connection will also. So just the VPN, download the VPN client and copy. So download VPN client and copy in the VM, in the client VM, right? Well, that would be the first thing, and then install the client certificate in that VM. If it was from external CA, then we would have manually attached this to the VPN client. So install the client certificate in that client VM, right? And then yeah, and then install the client VPN client. Install the VPN client as well. Well, you can do the VPN client installation before the certificate deployment as well, or after that. Okay, let's do that. So, but it will be deployed from here. And he says, what about L2TP, layer 2 tunneling protocol? So I think L2TP/SSTP, it also works that way, but it's a Cisco proprietary protocol, although it's used by other vendors as well. Well, it's a choice of Azure whether they want to use it or not. So L2TP/SSTP, that's layer 2 tunneling protocol. So it's Cisco, so they chose not to use it. It's up to the Azure. Okay, I'm just gonna go back here, and so yeah, I'm just gonna download this client. So I'm gonna click that, download VPN client. Oops. And failed to dynamically fetch target URI. Oh. Okay, I'll click. Are you able to hear me, guys? Are you able to hear me? Oh, okay, now I'm good. So yeah, I had a slight internet outage, very kind of a hiccupish. Okay, so it's as soon as I click the download VPN client, it just says, hey, where do you want to download that? And it's called Azure VNG-for-VPN.zip. So the client, this client collected the information of this certificate as well, collected the information which protocols I selected, and then the address pool. So whatever information I created here, then it took some time to create that client that has all this information available. So that's the VPN client, and it gave that name which I gave to the root certificate, root cert for VPN. So, Azure VNG for VPN. So this is the name I gave when I was creating that certificate. So this key gave that information there as well. So I'm going to save that in my laptop, and then from there I'm going to copy. So first it says that, hey, this kind of file is dangerous. So discard, and I'll click that, and I'll click the keep here. That it's okay, I know it's not dangerous. So keep, and okay, Azure VNG for VPN.zip, and I'm just gonna go to the show in folder. It opens in another page, another screen here. I'll go for this. Obviously, I'm just gonna copy this Azure VNG for VPN. I'll copy that inside the virtual machine. So I'll go there to the virtual machine where in the documents folder the two certificates are there. I'll just paste that here. Or where you want to paste that VPN client inside virtual machine. So I have that VPN client that I downloaded from the gateway, VPN gateway. So I just need to run it. The good thing is that it runs. Oh, okay, let me just show you where it will create a VPN connection. So, and ignore that you see this. So obviously I tested that before. Okay, gone. So these are the three network cards, local network cards, LAN network cards here, and there's no VPN connection yet here, or there was a previous one, but not anymore. So I'm just going to double click that client here first of all to open. It's a zip file, so I'll just double click, and now I'm inside that VPN client. So it's just having those clients here, Generic and x86 and AMD64. AMD64 is not, non-Intel. It has nothing to do with that Intel or AMD processor architecture. It's just 64-bit, that's all, and it runs on Intel as well. So I'm just going to double click that AMD 64, and there's a VPN client setup AMD 64. That's what I need to run. So when it runs, it doesn't actually give you a wizard of installation. It just runs and vanishes. That's it. But then you see that after some time, you see that there's a VPN connection configured here among other network cards that you can double click and connect to. So I'm just going to double click this, and instead of, oh, okay, it does say extract, and I didn't extract, I just ran last time. So how about if I extract to just explore what kind of files are inside, right? So I'll just extract this first, and it says that, hey, this is the folder where I'm going to dump everything. So I say, okay, extract, and Yeah, it vanished. But if I go inside this, oh yeah, I should have seen the path. I forgot the path actually. Was the path there? Actually, you know what? The thing is, I need to run it. Oh, yeah, there it is. So when I come back to documents, there is that folder. One was created 844, 842. So this is the latest one, and it has those files again. Seriously? Was it this one? Oh, okay. So yeah, so no use for extraction. I'm just gonna simply execute this file now. So double click this and run. So do you wish to install a VPN client for VNet VPN PA2S? P2S, this is the client name. So yes, I'm going to press yes. Please create a VPN connection for me. Thank you very much. So if I go to the network card area now, is it created already? Yes, it is created already. So that's the name, VNet VPN P2S. So I don't need to just double click now to make a connection because I haven't attached a certificate yet, the client certificate to this. Without that, it's not gonna connect, right? So actually, if I double click that now, then this screen pops up and it says, hey, who do you want to connect to? So I say VNet VPN. So if I click that, it has a connect button here as well, right? So if I click the connect, then it shows, oh, Windows Azure Virtual Network. This is a client that was downloaded. So do you want to connect? I'll say, suppose connect, and click cancel to begin connecting. Connection status. If I click connect, and then continue. So it says verify the password, CAP. Oh, seriously. You know, I had that client connection already there. So status, if I see, oh, no connection, no network. It didn't connect yet. Okay. But let me just did it get any IP? Oh, actually, it did get an IP. So guys, well, I need to show you that first. Just make sure that you run that client certificate. Let me just show you how to run that. I'm going to go to documents here and see this. There is that root cert from which we extracted a key, right? So we're not going to touch that. Now we need to use this client certificate. We do have a VPN client downloaded, but in order for it to connect, we need that client certificate to be in the proper folder. So how do we put it in the proper folder for VPN client to use it to connect to the VPN gateway? So okay, there's a pop-up here. It's just disconnected, which is okay. I'm gonna cancel this. So yeah, actually it connected. You know why it connected safe? Because I already tested on this very machine with the older client certificate. It took that one, so that's not good. Oh, but for you, don't tell me. No. Oh, okay. You know what? We have that client certificate still there. If you can delete that and then check, that would be a good test. That is it using that certificate or not? Okay. Or cut and paste it to somewhere else out of this machine. Oh, but Saif, if you're connected, then can you do a RDP to that machine before deleting that? Okay, guys, but let me show you. Don't test it now, or it's not supposed to connect even if we test now, and that's why I was testing, but actually it connected for me. So, so anyway, client cert for VPN client. I'm just gonna double click that, guys. I'm gonna double click and wait. See this? Oh, see. So yeah, we install that. Install blah blah blah. Connect it. So VPN client. What do we need to do? We just need to double click it and next finish. And it's going to simply install in the correct folder, and that's all we need to do, and then it will connect. So let me show you what I am trying to say here. See this client cert for VPN client. Double click that, and it starts. Hey, where do you want to actually put this certificate? Current user, store location is current user. although when we created that with a script, it did, place it there. So I'm going to click next. This is the path where the file name is right now available in the documents, and I'm going to click next. So it's asking, hey, what is your password? So whatever password you give. So small abc, capital ABC, shift123 without shift123. So that's a password. Without that, obviously it's not going to go, because we did give a password when we were creating that or exporting that. Next, and it says automatically select the certificate store based on the type of the certificate. So certificate store is there, and that's the certificate store that we shown here as well in the MMC console, right? So the file, the actual folder in the Windows, it's going to save the file there automatically. So next, and file name is this, and it is there in documents folder, and from there it's going to be placed in the certificate store. So just next, finish, simply install. So it says you're about to install a certificate from a certificate authority CA claiming to represent this. This is just the name of the root cert. It says that this is a certificate authority. So Windows cannot validate that the certificate is actually from root cert. Obviously it's a self-signed certificate. Thumbprint is this. Warning, if you install this root certificate, Windows will automatically trust any certificate issued by this CA. Installing a certificate with an unconfirmed thumbprint is a security risk. If you click yes, you acknowledge this risk. Yeah, we know that it's a self-signed certificate. In production environment, we don't use that. Just for our lab, we're using that. So I'm just going to press yes here. And the import was successful. Now after that, we should be able to connect the VPN. But remember one thing, guys, it disconnects after a slight idle time. So if it pops up again, hey, you want to connect, so just click connect again. Now what we need to do, first we're going to go ahead here and connect, right? Then we have to open the RDP connection from this local machine and connect and get the public or private IP of that Azure machine, right? Once you are connected from here, then we need to RDP from local machine to the private IP based machine in Azure. And you need to quickly RDP because the VPN connection does not see any traffic, it's gonna disconnect, right? So so what we do in diagram, we go here and check what is the private IP of our machine. Let's quickly grab that and come back here. As soon as we connect the VPN now, then after that we need to open an RDP connection to this machine that only has a private IP. So no other way other than the VPN, if the VPN is working, right? So what is the private IP of our machine? If I go to the Azure dashboard and portal menu and go down to virtual machines here, and there's only one virtual machine here with just the private IP, and that just the private IP is 10.0.0.4, right? Okay, I know that this is the IP there, and copy that, and I'm gonna go to my machine in my virtual in Vmware Workstation. So okay, I have the IP. You know what? I can also just prepare it. See this? Just go to run and type MSDSC, Microsoft Terminal Services Console, right? MSDSC. That's just for the remote desktop. So I'll put that IP here just to be ready. Let's just type it 10.0.0.4, right? So I'm just ready. Also, this is not the it's grabbing my local name, so that's not the local name with which it's going to connect. It's going to connect from your first name admin, well, the username password that you created during the virtual machine wizard creation, right? It says in production environment we need to install certificate in AD or the server has policy for radius. In production environment, if the machine is connecting to outside, then you need to purchase a certificate from external CA, external certificate authority. Since it's connecting outside, so it's always external CA. Okay, although technically you can connect, so that's the best practice I'm talking about. Technically, yes, you can connect with ADCS certificate. Yes, you can connect from Radius as well to Azure. So you can do that, but it's just not recommended for outside connections. outside of the organization. So I'll just keep this here, right, until here. And I'm going to go back now. Hey, do we connect or not? So I'm going to double click this guy now. Because certificate is in place, my RDP is in place. I'll try to connect now and click this and or double click this. It takes me to this option here. I'll click connect. Well, it pops up again. I'll click connect again. And now it shows connection manager needs elevated privileges. So yes, give it elevated privileges. Continue. Connection started verifying password. Okay, it is actually connected. And what I can do is I can quickly go to remote desktop here, 10.0.0.4. You know, this machine has 192 network. It doesn't have 10.0.0.4. 10.0.0.4 is only there in Azure. So I'm going to click connect here, and whoa, it asks for username password. If I go to more choices, because I need to give the username password that was above there, in Azure, right? So I'm going to go for use a different account. Why? Because it's your first name admin username there for that machine in Azure, right? Small ABC, shift 123, without shift 123. So give the credentials of that machine while we're connected, and it asks for self-sign certificate for that machine as well. Yes, and ooh, yay! Okay, so yeah, that's with this machine. That's the only machine where I gave this credential.
That awesome. That awesome. Just question. Yeah, instead, Mr. Amir, if instead of the access by remote desktop, if just I establish the connection from the connectivity, network connectivity, and just I make the connection established and go to Windows Azure, can I share some resources file on the Windows server and from the Azure access these resources?
And Azure access it, yes, normally to this, whichever machine or whichever service you have access to. Now, this is a gateway, but it actually does not give access to the whole Azure because you need to have permissions and it's going to ask for username, password as well. And you must have the links to those resources as well.
But it might okay, right? It's possible.
It is possible, exactly. In fact, right now, if you want to copy a file here, or suppose you want to map, this is LAN now, right? So there is that shared folder here in this local machine, and you want to map it to the Azure machine, you can do that too. You can transfer files. It's a LAN now. So
yeah,
for this virtual machine, as far as that is concerned. But others, actually, I have to also check. It should be there, connecting to resources, but VPN Gateway, whatever VPN Gateway allow us to do, that much it will do.
Yeah, that was amazing. It's you know, it's either than the AWS. That very complicated.
Yeah.
Here is just
yes, you're right.
piece of cake, you know.
Yeah, but that was a separate lab. If it was also a point to site, then yeah, we can say complicated. But it was site to site. That was a totally different scenario. Although yes, the VPN, even the VPN side in AWS was having a lot of steps there.
You promised we'll do that, right?
Yeah. Nobody offers me samosas even. I mean, not even samosas, right? Not even virtual samosas. I'm so sad now. Okay, so yeah, to site, yeah, we're gonna do that too because I also want to do pretty much everything that we can. I don't have restriction of any colleges, just my course, and yeah, so. It's just course is really expanding to too many days, but yes, it's just that I also want to go for whatever you want to go for. So cool. So guys, we're connected to our machine and we're good, right? Yeah. Okay, so Chintan says actually, can we do trust between two domain and access everything for site to site? Yeah, when site to site is there, so both sides are actually if they can ping, if they can do name resolution, then obviously you can connect one site's forest to another site's forest as well, one site's web server to another. So if it's a site to site, it's a pretty much you connected two networks, right? It's kind of LAN, right? So Mola says now lab should finish and go. So you know what? I was in the same mood because I had to test again this lab and I had to spend actually like total of 7 hours, like including this and the preparation for that. So I'm dizzy myself as well. So that's two calling for this is it. Uh, oh, okay. So there's a take rest, and that's a relief. So and yeah, guys. So I'm gonna try my best to go for side to side. If it is doable, yes, we're gonna do that. Yay! Finish class today. Okay. Okay, guys. So have a nice weekend, and I'll upload this video and try to redo all this. And next class, we're gonna go for site to site. If there is anything that we have to purchase, I'm sure there's no purchasing needed there. So we're gonna go for site to site. All right. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Yep.
Yeah, excuse me, Amir. In LMS, you only have until day 12. I don't know everyone is the same.
Let me check.
Or yeah.
Day 12. Okay. Yeah, I put everything late, but I did. Oh, yeah. Maybe I did not publish it. I have to publish for myself.
Yeah.
I guess that's it. Okay, guys. Thank you. Oh, those. Oh, yeah. We need to delete the lab as well. And let me check that here. Day 13 is there. And day 14 is actually it's a draft, so I need to publish it. Published. Now you should be seeing that with a video, and I still need to upload the document there. But the others, day 13 should be there. Actually, it's published, but let me check that. Day 13, 12 August. Yeah, it is. Sorry. Which one is that? This is AWS. You're right, actually. It's, oh, I'm checking AWS all the time. Oh, yeah. Day 13 and 14. Okay, there's a mix-up of dates as well. Let me just confirm that after the class. I'll just double check that, and they're both not published yet. You're right. So I'll publish them.
Okay.
And
Okay.
welcome.
Thanks.
And yeah, whenever you see that, just also send a message on WhatsApp, and right after that, I will just fix that as well.
Okay.
Thank
Have
you.
a good night weekend.
All right. Thank you. Bye, guys. And let's just delete everything. Have a great weekend. I'll just check day 30 is private on YouTube. Oh yeah, okay. I need to do that right after this class. So first of all, let's delete everything, right? So let's go for our portal menu, and then portal menu here, and then we go down to resource group. There's a resource group here, and then we click the RG16, and then we go for delete resource group. So it's the same drill. Just delete the source group and everything gets deleted. Ready? Okay, thanks. Good night. Bye bye, everyone. Thank you. So it's deleting now. I'll stop the video and check out the availability.